Hey guys, going to talk to you about U.S. History TEKS 13A, so let me read it to you. Analyze the cause and effects of changing demographic patterns resulting from the migration within the United States, including Western expansion, rural to urban, Great Migration, Rust Belt to Sun Belt. So, starting with the first one, Western expansion, you got the Klondike Gold Rush. You also have the Homestead Act, allowing people to come out west, take a parcel of land for next to nothing, as long as they stay on it for 5 years. Then they get to keep it, but they got to stay there and maintain it, and then it's basically given to them. Now, also the railroad expansion also helps the population shift going west. So you got some of the effects of that would be Native Americans being pushed off their lands. We kind of reach this manifest destiny or belief that we should be one country from coast to coast, and this kind of aids in that as well. Rural to urban. This is largely in the Gilded Age. So we've talked about the Gilded Age, industrialization, factories are popping up. They're going from rural to the cities to take these jobs. Before the Gilded Age, before industrialization, most of the United States population were rural and farming areas. By the end of industrialization, as we're reaching about 1900, we're going to see most of the populations are in the cities where there's opportunities to work in factories. Now, the effects of that means densely populated cities that are overcrowded, and resources haven't quite caught up to that, kind of like what we just studied during that period. Great migration of African Americans to the north. This is roughly 1910 to 1930. Remember, in the 20s, there's pretty good economic boom and opportunity. There's a move north for African Americans to get away from the tenement farming, the sharecropping. There isn't a lot of economic opportunity in the South. The racism is still really bad. So they move north looking for greater opportunity, and that's part of the migration, moving up there. What that will mean is densely populated cities are going to see a large African American growth in them, including Chicago, Illinois, New York, Detroit, Cleveland. A lot of these cities are going to see a tremendous growth in their African American population. Great Depression. So we've talked about the Great Depression. The Dust Bowl is the economic thing where you have people leaving our area where we live due to the conditions, and they go west looking for economic opportunities in California. That also affects the West Coast population. It grows. So last but not least, Rust Belt to Sun Belt. This is going to be more of a 1970s time period, and what we've got, and we've talked about this, we get relationships with China, we start developing global economies, and the manufacturing in this country starts going down tremendously. A lot of jobs get lost to a global market. A lot of these factories in the North and Midwest get abandoned, and when you're an abandoned steel building, what's going to happen? You're going to rust. So that's why they get kind of the Rust Belt name. So from the Rust Belt to the Sun Belt being sun, that's in the south, so a lot of people move south for other economic opportunities. Florida and just across the south. Also air conditioning becoming more available and put in the homes allows for people to move in the areas, and you see population growth in places like Phoenix, Houston, South Florida. All these areas grow exponentially because of air conditioning, whereas before air conditioning, people didn't want to live in that kind of heat, but now they can. So that also means there's a political shift as far as population. So when the population moves to the south, now the south is going to have some political power. So that's kind of the Rust Belt to Sun Belt migration. So hopefully that helps you with SE 13A.